Have you seen in Italy that 50,000 businesses opened against the government's wishes and said they were going to refuse the lockdown because it's causing them, losing their livelihoods, etc., etc. Also, Poland have done the same, haven't they? The businesses decided to open against government's wishes and stuff like that. Now, if you're not aware of it, people out there, the Italian people fought back and said, we're opening our businesses and you're not going to stop us. And as soon as they all did that, 50,000 of them, the government backed down on the illegal and lawful business closures. All right, so if Italy are doing it, 50,000 businesses opening and are now allowed to stay open because they went against the government, the Polish businesses are also doing the same. I've also heard rumours that people in Hungary, they're opening their businesses as well, right? I don't know if you've seen it trending on social media anywhere in this country, but on the 30th of January 2021, the great UK reopening is supposed to be occurring. So everyone who's got a business out there, small or large, pub, nightclub, restaurant, even a shop, whatever, on the 30th of January 2021, be part of the great reopening that's trending all over social media and open your business and fight back against government tyranny and illegal and lawful business closures.
And that's going to stretch police resources. I just noticed you sign here, join us.
Thank you.
And what would you like people to join you for?
For the revolution, man, to fucking get rid of these Illuminati bastards. Hey? Yeah, well, you'll do the other side in a minute, but
that's what for. Save our
that's
rights.
who we are. Save Our Rights UK. Sheffield chapter has arrived.
I've buried too many people because of lockdown, and I can't be dealing with it. Lockdowns need to end. There's no need for them. They don't work. Otherwise, there comes a case of rising if they are.
Well, it is interesting how it's the people who wear masks go for the testing. That's what's creating the figures higher.
Yeah, and they're going higher. So the people that claim they're sticking to the rules.
Do masks actually help then?
No, masks don't help. Nothing, do they?
Because people who don't wear masks tend not to go for a test.
I'm not wearing a mask. I've mingled. I've hugged my friends. I've visited whoever I want. I went to London when apparently London had a new virus to bury my mother, who died because she couldn't have a heart transplant because of lockdowns. So it don't work, does it? Yeah, us that are breaking the rules, us COVID-idiots, as they call us, we're the ones that are fine, saying we need our freedoms and our rights back. And it's not me I'm worried about, it's my kids and my grandkids.
Well, I'm going to nail my colours to the flag here. I'm going to say I do believe there's some kind of virus out there, just like there is every year.
I believe it exists. It's just a version of flu. And I personally, I think it's made in a laboratory, but that's my own beliefs, and I could be wrong, I could be right about that. It's not real there, but with a 99% survival rate, we can't be locking down and killing people like we are.
This is my second time actually at this area, leafleting, handing out the light newspaper and that sort of thing, but I've been part of protesting for years, anti-fracking and all sorts. XR, I'm a member of XR as well, but I'm just not living in a dystopian future like George Orwell 1984. I'm not living in it. I'm not having no fucking horrible vaccine. My kids aren't having it. No way. Cashless society, all this stuff that's coming in from on the back of COVID, it's all bullshit. It's control. I'm not having it. Kill me.
And do you wear a mask at all?
Never. I have to for work. I've got quite a high professional job, so I have to wear a mask in that. But I've got to feed my kids. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, what
can I do? I sort of live two lives, But
yeah, well, some people are caught up in the system, aren't they? That way.
Exactly. I'm shackled to the system in that way at the minute. But in my personal life, I do what I want.
I do believe it's interesting how COVID-19 is coming along and coronavirus. That now influenza and seasonal flu seems to have disappeared.
Oh yeah, flu and cold are gone, haven't they? Amazing that, isn't it? And now tell us that's because you're wearing your masks and because you're locked down. But so why hasn't COVID gone? So I'm not having it. I can't buy it for a second. I won't buy it, and I refuse to buy it.
More information needs to come out, and I think it will eventually.
And the lies need to stop.
I've noticed some bad practices from mask wearers. They always seem to grab hold of the front of the mask with the fingers, lift it back up over the nose, and then put their hands down, and then lift it up and down. So if that mask is moist, technically they've got stuff on the fingers.
Of course they have, yeah.
Spreading it around.
Of course they have, yeah.
So, I mean, the police, for instance, they're always adjusting the masks, aren't they? They don't wear gloves, do they now?
No, they don't.
So if they arrest someone after they've been playing with the mask, and if they did have any kind of coronavirus or infection, then that's potentially a spreader, isn't it? So maybe the police should start wearing gloves again.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Ones.
Yeah, you know me and the police don't agree on these things anyway. The amount of times I've had arguments with the police and told them that they're illegal and unlawful and trying to stop people protesting. As I said before, one of our basic constitutional rights in this country is the right to free protest. You know what I mean? And I said all along, the illegal and unlawful guidelines that are unenforceable by anybody, by the government. As you know, they're not enforceable in a court of law or by the police or anybody. And every time I say to them, as you know, you caught on camera before, when I challenge the police when they're harassing us, they tend to leave us alone. Because I asked them if they're standing under their oath, and as you've heard when I've asked them this question, they've admitted they can't comment on whether they're standing under their oath or not. Because if they were standing under their oath, they wouldn't be allowed to harass people for peaceful protest in the street.
Sheffield's never had a big voice. It does when it's the NHS. It does when it's something to do with kids or whatever else. But about people's freedom and rights and everything, this city's been dying for a long time. So to kill the investment, to kill people's businesses, what they've built from scratch, to kill people's education, their future, it's the obedience. It's killing people's spirit. I don't even know people on my estate what are banging music out anymore. So it's like if they fear to do things creative or just out of the norm. Do you know what I mean? Because everybody, now we're getting £800 fines, we're getting 10 grand fines if people are more than 50 people, all that kind of stuff. Police are coming through your door because they've got all these new rights. I think there's been about 600 laws changed since pandemic started. And people are like, they're kind of talking about things. I says, well, that was yesterday. Today it's changed again. So the police don't know how to keep up and to police whatever's going on because it's just things are constantly changing. It's the word shit rolls downhill. It does. So everybody at the bottom, we're getting the brunt of it, while everybody at the top is like changing the rules so fast that everybody in the middle is getting muddled up. So we're just thinking, you know what? It's all a joke. It's a hoax. It's whatever.
Sending lots of love and light despite the shite to you all.
As you're aware, I've been saying for months and months and months when I first did interviews with you last year at the start of this movement here in Sheffield, I said they were falsifying the numbers by getting fake tests done for people that were being counted as so many cases of this fake virus that no one's proved exists yet, as you're aware of it. Now, I've also revealed months and months ago that the guy who invented the test, called Carrie Mullis, turned around and said it wasn't supposed to be used to be testing for viruses, if you remember rightly. And that's the creator of the test. He also said that however many cycles you put these so-called PCR tests at, they can detect absolutely anything. Dead material from previous illnesses from years gone by. And it came out and was revealed that anyone who'd had a cold or flu within the last 10 years was testing positive for this fake virus due to the PCR cycle test being set too high.
There's got to be something out there because people are dying, right? And we're not denying that, and we're not denying the fact that every single death, is terrible. But every single death is not COVID. And the PCRs, the WHO have told people shouldn't be using them anymore. So we stop using them, we will dramatically see the fall in COVID, positive tests.
I've said many, many times before that people who are taking these so-called tests for this fake virus, they were being bribed by the government by being paid for it. If you remember, anyone who went for one test, the first test you had, you paid £50 for it, and then the subsequent test after that, you paid £25 each per test. And what the government were doing to keep the numbers inflated, falsifying the numbers in the documents, was saying one person having 10 tests was classed as 10 new cases of a fake virus that no one's proved exists yet.
What's your view on mask wearing?
Wear it if you want, don't wear it if you don't want. Get the vaccine if you want it, don't. It's as easy as that. You're going to have, when pubs reopen, we're going to have half of people masked up and we're going to have half not. But it's going to be like a United on Wednesday. But we're still going to be out and about, we're still going to be doing what we're doing. And stuff I've done back in the day anyway, none of this COVID's going to touch me. My immunity must be through the roof. I've eaten out of some of these places what you shouldn't be eating at.
The WHO have actually admitted that the PCR test is finally flawed and have told all the laboratories across the world to reduce the cycles so they can get a legitimate number of so-called cases of this virus that no one's proved exists yet.
The information is there. Reporters could put in Freedom of Information Act if they wanted to, and it'd take a while, but it's there. It's all right in front of his eyeballs, so it's not a thing that it's a smoke screen. It is bang there for everyone to access because we live in a digital era now. We're in a world where everything is at fingertips. So if we want the information, we can get it.
I'm really angry about the system right now because it's scrutinising me for just being a good person. So I'm going to stay on my path and use the anger in a positive way to encourage others to do well and do the same.
what a lot of people don't seem to realise is, before people were wearing masks, don't forget, at the very start of all this, the WHO actually came out and said to people, right, that a face mask wouldn't prevent you catching anything anyway, because they're just not equipped for that job, were they? You know what I mean? And if you remember, there was also pictures of boxes of these masks, you know, they come in saying these masks are not to be used to protect from any viral infections, coronavirus or anything like that. So, at first, the government said a mask didn't do any difference. It didn't make any difference if you remember. Yet all of a sudden, the WHO jumped on board and turned around and said, "Oh yes, the masks. Yeah, you must wear a mask because the mask will prevent things." But as you've just said yourself, you know as well as I do, the people that have started wearing masks, there's people coming out all over the place. They're taking the masks off, and they've got welts and cold sores and marks all over the body because they're not breathing out properly. First of all, they're not getting enough oxygen inside the body to breathe normally, right? As you're aware of it, and also the bad carbon dioxide from the body is not being released from the body, which needs to be done to prevent infections. It's going straight back into the body, which is infecting people's lungs and that.
Right, is everyone ready then for a march?
Born ready, me, mate.
Where are we going? Right, we're going to go down there, then we're going to come back and go past, and then finish back here.
Around there.
Down there, up there, and back. Is everyone ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
When was the last time you went on a march?
4 weeks ago. Where did we go? Birmingham.
Manchester.
I've learnt a bit of Birmingham.
No, I'm getting worried.
Birmingham.
There another big one at Birmingham.
Birmingham.
I believe so. No doubt we'll
See,
return
I
at some
loved
point.
Birmingham because it were interactive, but I loved Manchester as
Lola,
well.
I'm going to start a 99% group on Telegram. We just move over.
Hey, you know when I start singing, you've got to sing as well, you know? Yeah.
I know, like, coming from my community, what's disadvantaged in a lot of things. We've had no investments for the younger generation, everything else. Businesses don't really get backed up. Crime is going through absolutely the roof because police are just being stretched all over the city doing all this COVID stuff. So now we're having to police our own communities. We're having to gather our own people. So it's like a thing where we just know how to play the system. Someone said it years ago, if you play the system works, but the rules are changing that fast, you've got to keep up twice as fast as them. You've got to kind of anticipate what they're going to do next. So we need mind readers.
I'll see you when you come back.
So we'll set off with the sunshine behind everybody in silhouette. Hiding your identity with the sun behind you.
How do I?
I can see you now. How are you doing?
I'm alright. I bet you look better with the sun behind me, though, doesn't it?
I'll tell you what, I'll get behind you. There you go.
There's loads of pictures of me like that with sun behind me and a halo and that. Got them in buildings all around the world, man.
Any messages to the people watching?
Fucking wake up, please.
Well, that's a fair point, isn't it? It's a slow awakening, as they say.
I think it is starting to happen, mate. Slowly but surely. But like I say, I think people are only going to come out when it actually comes to the crunch, aren't they, I reckon? Properly.
Anyway, see what happens.
Yeah. Well, building sites, mate, once they shut down, I reckon everyone will come out. Once people are struggling to feed their families and that, it's just, you know, like really struggling. But they should already be out anyway.
noticed you joined in the queue.
I have, mate. I've got paper.
All right.
I'm fully aware what may be going on.
Do you want to say anything on camera?
Fuck the government.
Well, you can say that off camera as well.
How can they keep attacking people's health, their mental well-being, their livelihoods through all these figures and stats? And I think some people have even said, what do these government research papers? They're not even sending them anymore that people don't agree with the lockdown. So obviously they're going to get 100% agreeing with them if they're only sending the papers out to the people what agree with the lockdown. So it's all rigged. The game is rigged. The game was rigged the day I was born.
Do you understand? Understand is synonymous with stand under, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't stand under anybody, neither should anyone else, no.
So, and it's also interesting, how can you understand something if you can't comprehend it first?
Yeah.
So first you need to comprehend something before you actually state it to understand something.
Yeah, of course. You see, you've heard me argue with the police and that, and then they leave us alone. But you've heard me argue with the police, and I challenge them and ask them to stand under oath. They won't commit to saying whether they stand under oath or not. When I tell them they're acting illegally and unlawfully, they won't answer me because they know they haven't got a leg to stand on, and that's why they tend to walk away. Don't forget, a few weeks ago I got rid of one of these coppers that kept harassing us about this social distancing nonsense in less than 90 seconds, you know what I mean? And because I quoted the law to him, and he clearly didn't know anything about the actual law that he's supposed to represent, that he took an oath, swore an oath to uphold, because he was just blatantly ignoring the actual laws regarding the situation.
Oh, Valley State. Big reset, great reset and all the rest of it.
I'd just like to say there was some police here earlier, and there's no police here now. The police have gone away, should we say, but I believe they are monitoring the situation from the CCTV cameras up and down. Just above us now, in front of us, straight above the person with the drugs, the CCTV system camera, which will probably be monitoring this situation.
The world seems to be partying, everyone's out in Dubai, it's like, everyone's getting on with it except us. And if you look up the Tories, how they're connected to all the pharmaceutical companies what are pushing all the PPE and the vaccine and everything else. Matt Hancock's family's all involved in it.
You mentioned Matt Hancock's family, £5.5 million contract or something. He's got links to family who's got that contract.
Well, money begets money, doesn't it? So it's like, you're my mate, I'm going to chuck you this contract, you just make sure I've got a nice little wager at the end of it, or a nice little job. Like some of these big massive companies, you see some of the MPs just walking into these jobs where these big companies have had their things pushed through, what they wanted. So you look at the housing market, you know what I mean? It's like, how can we have not have built any social homes, but then we're building all these private homes, what costing you £1,000? I think some people are paying nearly 900 quid to go and live on Sky Edge. And I'm like, are you mad? Them houses up there were like less than 500, 400 quid back in the day.
Impartiality, that's an interesting word, and it's in the police attestation. They swear to be impartial, don't they?
Yeah. You see, the problem with the police is, at the end of the day, I understand they've got the pensions to worry about and they've got a job to do and this, that and the other, but what I've said many times before, and I'll keep saying it, the police need to remember the police was by our consent. As you're well aware of this, right? And in our constitutional rights, we are free people in a free country. We can go where we want, whenever we want to, you know what I mean? We cannot be stopped and harassed under any circumstances whatsoever. As long as we're not committing any harm, or any loss or injury to anybody, we're not breaking any laws. You know what I mean? The constitution of this country is one of the most respected constitutions in the world. You know what I mean? Don't forget the Americans that adopted our constitution centuries ago. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, the government and the police, the police have become nothing more than government lapdogs, are trying to enforce illegal rules, guidelines, advice, which they're not supposed to do. As you know, I've said many times before, the police are there to prevent crime and stop people committing crimes and arrest people for committing crimes. You know what I mean? There's no crime being committed for people by anybody walking down the street in a free country, in a free world, in what's supposed to be a democratic country, wants to breathe fresh air in unhindered, without a mask on or anything like that. Boris Johnson was facing a rebellion from his backbench because many of the Tory party have said to him that unless he starts giving people a clear way out of these illegal and unlawful restrictions on our people of this country, he'd be facing a leadership challenge. You know what I mean? That was well documented. But rather than listen to his own MPs and actually represent the people of this country like he's supposed to do by law, he's completely going against the government and against the people of this country. He's actually committing treason against the people of this country, you know what I mean? Now, at the end of the day, if anyone with half a brain, if your own government are telling you that unless you actually start showing a clear way out of these illegal and lawful restrictions, you're going to face a leadership challenge, wouldn't you, with half a brain, think, well, hang on a minute, yeah, I've dragged this nonsense on too long now, I'm not going to be able to keep getting away with it.
Lads like myself, we were just not doing anything. So we've decided to get back into football, boxing. Some of the lads are still waiting to get back into rugby. They've not even been able to do any contact for God knows how long. So you can't do that to the communities. You can't do that to the people. You can't, especially to the younger generation. There's some of the lads up at Titans Boxing. My mate John Fuchs runs it. He's got some of the best kids ever up there, and we are at that gym. They'd have just been running riot all over the estate, causing a nuisance.
What's the gym called again?
It's Titans Boxing Gym.
This government in this country at this moment in time is the most corrupt government in UK history, and it's about time all these lawyers and solicitors and all these judges that swore to uphold the law, these High Court judges and stuff like that. Why are none of these High Court judges starting to question any of this nonsense? The basic human rights of the British people being eradicated left, right and centre without our consent, you know what I mean? It's becoming a complete tyrannical dictatorship, not the democratic country it's supposed to be.
I was supposed to go back boxing, but like I said, COVID just put a stop to everybody. So now it's just, people are just sat in hotels, training in them gyms, waiting for a fight to come up a few months down the line, and for their mental well-being as well, to not being around everybody who can spur them on. You've got to have that. You've got to have that camaraderie. You've got to have that aggression, just the spirit in the gym. It's mad. It's mad. From any person who knows out there what it's like working in a team and anything else, just you guys out here, you're a team, and you all back each other up 24/7 while you're out on the streets and everything else. So it's like you'll know the bond, what you've got, and that's what's missing, the bond, the friendship, they're taking away the spirit of everything.
Do you think Boris has got an alter ego?
I think Boris has got an inferiority complex, and I think he believes there's a reincarnation of a previous dictatorial leader that was found guilty of committing mass genocide against people in one of the wars. I won't mention it too much. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
That's a controversial one.
Yeah, but I seriously think that Boris Johnson is getting ideas above his station, and he's beginning to believe he's more powerful than the whole government itself. And the utter contempt that him, Matt Hancock, Chris Whitty and Patrick Vallance and Patrick Van Tamp are showing for this country is an absolute disgrace.
Guys, just do what you can. eat healthy, exercise, walk, get out to the Peak District. You know, the spring's coming soon, lighter days are here, you know, and just listen to music, eat healthy food. I think I've already said that.
Anybody like structure? There's some gargoyles of some kind up there, or strange looking gentlemen in sculptures in buildings. Right at the top. A bit sinister is that, if you ask me. I got a question for you. Now you've been on that march.
Yeah.
Who's Oggy?
No idea. I thought it was your mate.
How did you feel after that?
Brilliant. Yeah. Awesome.
Any inspiration for others that you want to share with messages?
Just get out and meet people and just live normally like you would before.
Embrace
forget all
believe
this
in yourself
bullshit.
and do not feed the fear
all this crap on the mainstream media, it's brainwashing you, man. There's nothing out there. There is a coronavirus, yes. If you're old and frail, then obviously shield. But if you're young and healthy, I travel all over Europe for work. I've not done a thing different. I don't put any of that chemical shit on my hands. I don't wear a mask. I've done nothing different the whole time. I've not caught nothing. It's bollocks. Don't be scared. Get out of your fucking living rooms. Let's go have a party. Come on.
Quick one on Matt Hancock.
Yeah.
Currently been found in a park without a mask, with a ball.
Playing rugby with his mates last week, wasn't he?
I don't know the.
Yeah, he was caught in Queen's Park. I did a video of it last week. He was caught in Queen's Park with a bunch of his chums playing rugby.
Is it fair to say that now he's on a holiday and because he's been pinged?
Well, he's been caught out. He's been caught out, hasn't he? He's been caught out. So basically, what I reckon is because it's actually been revealed in the mainstream media that he's blatantly disregarding his own rules and regulations that he's trying to enforce on everybody. I think he's had his hand slapped by the government and says you need to take a week off, pretend you've got this, pretend you've been pinged. It has to be, doesn't it? You know what I mean? Because I think he's had his hand slapped because he's been caught out well and truly. You know what I mean? Breaking the so-called regulations that he's hell bent on enforcing on everybody.
So to turn a negative into a positive, he then went on to say, "This is how to do it. When you get pinged, isolate." He did, didn't he? He wanted people to isolate after that. That's how you do it. He's trying to set an example there, wasn't he?
Let's not forget that this pinging system it's so flawed. It's got more holes in it than a colander.
Switch off the mainstream media, because 10 minutes of that will send you over the edge. That really does damage people's mental health.